Well, it's good news in promoting the culture of accountability in the province of Gauteng. It was the theme of this year's provincial Clean Audit and Ethical Governance Seminar, which took place yesterday. Finance MEC Jacob Mamabolo is with us this morning. He's come in and made some time for us. MEC, good to have you with us. And there's a lot to talk about when it comes to governance in the Gauteng province. I wanted to spend a moment or two just talking about the problems, though, because to understand the solutions, we have to understand the problems. And I see you talking about corruption, incompetence, and poor knowledge of public finance management. It's quite a list of things we've got wrong. Good morning. How do we get on top of this?
Firstly, good morning to you. Let me greet all the viewers and thanks for inviting us. I must say that yesterday was a very important day for us in the sense that, on the 9th of March this year, we announced a 493 billion rands of budget, and yesterday in Soweto, we met with all our senior managers. The Premier was there himself, where we're looking precisely at how this money should be spent, compliant with the laws, avoid all the non-compliance issues. So to that extent, I think just coming back to your point, yesterday, one of the most exciting things was to see our senior managers signing a pledge, committing themselves to promoting the culture of public accountability, as opposed to, complacency, as opposed to, just the perennial problems that we are seeing that you have referred to. So to that extent, I think we have planted the seed quite successfully yesterday in, again, strengthening our resolve, enhancing a culture of governance of accountability, but also just ensuring that public money is spent in accordance with the laws.
What does the pledge say? What's the wording?
The pledge says promoting the culture of accountability in Gauteng Province. So to that extent, we're trying to deal with the issues of, promoting, holding people accountable, what is called consequence management. We know that there's normally the Auditor General will release reports that point out to this and that, and holding people accountable for violating the Public Finance Management Act, Municipal Finance Management Act, all that was very critical to us yesterday to say we need to open a new chapter. We need to make sure that we build and boost confidence in the levels of accountability and making sure that do
you do that by firing people who aren't performing?
Well, remember that with respect to consequence management, there are laws in the country that will have to be followed. There's a procedure. If we don't follow that, you could have lapses in that. So it will include firing people, but having followed the procedure, warning people, depending on what the outcomes of those processes are. But the essence of it is people have to be held accountable for non-compliance with the laws of this country. And that's very critical for us.
What's the number one issue for you in, you can give me a sector if you'd like to, where there's corruption or incompetence that you as the MEC want to see being dealt with immediately? You can't fix all the problems all at once. I imagine you've got a priority list. Give me the top of your list. Someone comes to you from the department and says, this is the issue I want you to focus on. What is that number one issue for you as the MEC?
Number one issue, top priority for me is precisely holding people accountable, making sure that the people who are found to have, violated any part of the law, consequence management take place without fear, without prejudice, without favor. So that, for me, consequence management is the fundamental issue that I wish in the province we could make good progress in the departments, in municipalities. And
is there one department that stands out that's particularly worrying that you want to nail this down on? One department especially?
Well, let's just look at let me take a municipality first. If you just look at what has happened to the financial management in the city of Tshwane, I think we need to see the mayor has resigned, but I think we need to see more action on that. So if we're to go to provincial departments, one of the most worrying departments definitely is the Department of Health. We have seen, in the previous years, the PPE scandal. The Premier spoke about that yesterday.
Tembisa Hospital.
The Tembisa Hospital. So it is also one of the departments with a high level of, irregular expenditure is quite high. So it is one of those departments. But I think what is critical for us is the Premier of the province has outlined new priorities: township, informal settlements, and hostels. We are putting 493 billion into the economic space of Gauteng. What is keeping me awake at night, and I guess Premier, when I listened to him carefully yesterday, is in spending this money with the pressure points of service delivery and having to do the things that we have agreed upon as a province that we need to do. No single cent should go into waste, should be spent in an irregular manner or in an unauthorized manner. So that is very much important to us.
It is, and I'm sure many people, and I'm glad to hear, I think the Department of Health in Gauteng is a big focus. I think MEC, many people would agree with you there. So I'm hearing oversight. I think that's the key word here, isn't it? It's oversight, making sure money is properly spent. There's people in place that are going to make sure money isn't spent irresponsibly. That's what you're saying. It's oversight, isn't it?
Yes, oversight, accountability.
It absolutely is. And a lot of what you're saying as well, you'll agree, is economic development as well. Of course it is.
Can I speak to that issue?
You can as well. And while you speak to that issue, MEC, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask you about the MEC for Economic Development, dissolving the boards of the Gauteng Gambling Board and the Gauteng Growth Development Agency. Where's the oversight there? It's a problem, and that must be keeping you up at night. There's accusations coming out that, and I want to use the words, the MEC being described as irrational. And this is the Economic Development MEC. How do you take that forward? What's the positivity here? Give me some good news.
I think before I speak to how clean governance, clean audit, good management of public finances is a big determinant for economic growth and for job creation and all that. Just on the point you're raising, I think one of your colleagues who conducted the interview, and hoping my memory,
Dan Moyane.
Yes, I think he made a very profound point that, and he repeated this. He said the MEC will be given the opportunity to the right of reply and the opportunity to be heard. And I think that's very important. So to that extent, I'll not be commenting on that matter because I think your colleague is absolutely right. Let's not preempt that. Let's allow the MEC the opportunity.
And the MEC will respond, I'm sure, but in the spirit of oversight, not having a board at two of these companies and two of these agencies would worry someone like you who's just been talking about oversight. You would prefer, obviously, to have board members providing oversight. You would agree?
Well, as I said, I think let's stick to what the channel said, and I commend you for, giving the MEC the opportunity, the right of reply. I think what is more important for me, and this came out very well, particularly from the AG yesterday, from the head of the Gauteng Ethics Advisory Council yesterday, Dr. Nombe, is that in an environment where there's poor governance, there's mismanagement of public funds, there's instability, like we're seeing in the city of Tshwane. In that environment, it is a huge deterrent to investors that want to put their money in that space. And as part of the brick that is required to build the economy of this country, it is critical that Gauteng, which contribute 35% into the GDP of the country, that environment is efficient, is effective, is stable, and its overall governance becomes a very good incentive to investors. And of course, we said municipalities also are not just points of basic service delivery. They are also a critical investment space. The city of Tshwane is the face of our country. It's the capital city. So stability, good financial management, it's critical to the province. And that is why we are saying good governance, accountability, dealing with, just, an environment where money goes into waste. We're saying that is critical to address, because if we want to build this economy, if we want to make sure that Gauteng, which is the big shoulder on which the country's economy stands, if we want to ensure that, we should all of us put a building block to grow in the economy, particularly and most importantly of the economic hub, which is Gauteng.
And it is, no doubt, the economic hub. And MEC, on that as well, as the finance MEC, last point on this, Dr. Sibongile Vilakazi, I want to get your last thoughts on this, on the MEC, Tasneem Motara. Is there a timeline that you want to see this dealt with? Because you don't want to be dealing with these questions either, the Economic Development MEC. What's your timeline on this to get this resolved? I know you said the MEC will respond. Obviously, the MEC can respond, but for you it's worrying. You want this done as quickly as when to deal with this issue? It's an issue that you shouldn't even be answering to.
I think what we should all do, and I'll make this plea. I think let's uphold the very profound principle laid by your station and your channel, and I think let's afford the MEC the opportunity to deal with the issues. I think that's quite important. Having said that, I'd like to make to emphasize this point that. The fact that the officials of the province, all entities, all departments, all municipalities present yesterday, all of them, have put a very critical break in building the province economy. I think that should be, for me, the guiding star for all of us to say, let's build Gauteng's economy as a basis to build the country's economy. Because I don't see any other option except focusing on Gauteng's economy. It is the best way. Let's put the brick, one brick at a time, to build our beautiful country, to build the economy of this province.
And you knew I was going to ask you again, and I appreciate it, because it sounds like a lot has come out of this clean audit and ethical governance seminar. It sounds like there's plans in place, MEC, to rid the issues of corruption, incompetence and poor knowledge of public finance management. And I appreciate you coming in. So it was a good seminar. It looks like there's a lot of plans in place. Mr. Jacob Mamabolo, thank you very much for coming in to speak to us. Gauteng Finance MEC joining us here. And of course, I had to ask about the Gauteng Economic Development MEC, Tasneem Motara, the Finance MEC, saying it has to be dealt with, but let the MEC come out and respond. I certainly tried my best on that. Jacob Mamabolo, thank you very much.